So today we're going to talk about water getting into your hard wall of your trailer and causing your trailer to come apart. So what's happened in the past, these fine people and maybe one or two owners previous have done a really horrible job sealing stuff up, and they put all kinds of different products on here and have caused me no end of trouble. So on this particular piece of trim, they've smeared whatever this stuff is here. It's hard, it cracks, it doesn't stay stuck properly. It's almost impossible to get off unless the water gets behind it, and you can't really tell because it's hard. It's not a, whatever it is, it's not the right product to use on a trailer. So if we carry on in our investigation and we go up a little higher, we'll see up there I've got a problem that I need to fix where the end little downspout is supposed to go on, and there will be an overlap of EDPM roof membrane plus some metal trim plus a bunch of sealant plus the hard wall, and if I don't fix that, that's going to leak. But what we really want to talk about today is window installation. And when they install these windows from the factory, the holes are always larger than the window. They're generally in a rush, I think, because they're trying to get production and get as many units out as they can or what have you. And then people think that once it starts to leak, they could get away with just smearing some silicone around the outside, but every time they do that, it causes them more trouble because the silicone will not stick to this stuff for long term when it's wet. So what happens is you end up with a problem where you had a little issue and now you've tried to band-aid it and now you've got a bigger issue. So experience has taught me on this trailer and several others that I've had that one of the things I want to watch out for is that I use a decent product for attaching the windows back to the trailer or the RV, whatever it is, so that they have a good seal on the outside so that the water can't get in between the two layers of material and into the wall and then wreck the wall, which is a problem that we had here where my wall was completely disintegrated from the inside, and it looks good from the outside because the hard wall doesn't show any damage until it's way too late, and then you're in real trouble, and then you've got to do a major repair to try and fix that problem. So that's my fault. I should have been more proactive, sealing my edges, sealing my EDPM coating to the roof, and making sure that my windows were sealed up. In this particular case, it wasn't the window, it was the actual EDPM along the edges and the very top of the roof that were leaking, and it caused water to get into both my walls and then down. But also on my garage door down at the bottom here, it had leaked in behind that, and it caused a bunch of water damage there as well. So what I like, and what's my preference, here we go, I like gutter and downspout sealant. The gutter and downspout sealant always stays flexible, it always holds up, and it withstands water, so it won't peel and crack or what have you, whereas regular silicone will peel off and it causes future problems that you can't see, because once you've got everything tight, it's concealed, you don't know what's happening. Now, I'm not selling anybody's product, I don't make anything from this. This is just me. DAP makes one. It says window, door, gutter, roof, 100% waterproof. This is silicone based. This one here is made by GE, silicone gutter sealant. I've not tried it, so I'm not 100% sure how that's going to play out. My favorite is this one here by LePage. It's cheapest of the bunch as well, and it's white, it's soft, it's flexible, and once it goes on, it stays soft. And I know this because several years ago I made a repair, and it's the same product on there. I've got to scrape it off, but it stays gluey in my hand, and then it's easy to clean up with a little bit of solvent. Personally, I like a little bit of lacquer thinner. Lacquer thinner seems to take it off really well. Probably going to give me cancer or something, but anyway, it's good stuff and I like it. But what I'll do, I'm going to take this, I'm going to leave the window gasket that came with the window intact, and I'm going to make a bead along the top and down both sides, and just about 4 inches around the bottom of the window, and I'm going to leave the very bottom of the window open and free. And if any water does collect or run down, it's going to hit that bottom opening and water is going to come out there. You're not going to trap the water. Also in the front of the window, and maybe we'll see that when we go and actually put it back on the trailer, there's 2 vents on each side, and those vents are there to let the water out if any collects, which is very important because it's something that we forget. Actually here, if you look in here, there's a hole here and a hole there, and those holes connect to 2 holes underneath on the back side that allow water out. So you want to make sure that you don't cover those up by any means. So I've laid a bead. Didn't do a very good job laying the bead, but I've laid a bead around the window 2/3 of the way around so that we've got it all covered. And you can just back up with that camera there, son. So now I'm going to take this window, I'm going to put it in place. Something that's important to know, when they build these things, there's a big gap that window can slide back and forth in. So the windows are never centered. So when you reinstall your window, you've got to make sure that you center your window back up in the hole from the inside. Otherwise, what happens is you end up with no gasket material and no sealant on between your gel coat and your window base, and that's where leaks will come in as well. So now we're going to switch places and we're going to go inside and we're going to screw this window in place. Now I'll show you what I mean by the gap. All right, so this window, don't get so close. This window, if you look up here, you can actually see there's gaps showing if I was to leave the window sit down like this. So when we put this in, back up a little bit, when we put this in, we've got to level this out and bring the window up slightly. Got to bring the window up slightly to allow that to self-center back in that hole a little better. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to force ourselves into a position where we've got a leak again. Put a wood shim in the bottom of the corner of the window here, and that's going to tighten that up a little bit. It looks like it's centered pretty well in the hole. I'll make sure my ring's going on the right way. Then our ring goes in. Make sure this is right. Just double check and make sure that I got the window in right side up, because the last time I put one in, I put it in upside down, and that wasn't helpful. And for some reason, my holes don't line up, so this ring must go this direction. There we are. That's interesting. And you see that they put the joint at the top so that it is hidden by the blinds, which would make sense. So I'll just throw in a couple of screws here. And that's it. That's basically lining this window up. Put your screws back in. I like to stagger mine so that I can get the window snugged in nice and tight without causing a ripple in anything. And that's it. This is Dale from Dale's Garage. We'll catch you on the next one.